For retirement, visit WeSaySaveIt.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
This is the Happy Hour.
You guys going to happy hour?
Live from the Koppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, maybe I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. Happy Monday. This is the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary with you. Rico, what's up?
Hello.
How was your weekend?
Fantastic. Shout out to Orchard Days.
Oh, that's right. In the village.
In the village of Orchard.
You went out to the village of Orchard.
It's awesome.
Not big enough to be a town, so it's a village.
Great.
That's right. As always, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line. Both those open for you guys the entire show today. Plenty of stuff to get to. We're going to kind of quick hit on everything. Steve Mark of Inside Nebraska and Rivals will join us at 2:30 to kind of recap what he saw this morning. In the first segment here, we're going to talk about a couple things. Ashley Williams decommits from Nebraska, looking towards he's going to be an Auburn lean, visited Auburn over the weekend. How does Nebraska's outside linebacker situation look now that he is no longer part of the fold? We'll kind of dive into that, but then also the bigger story, we got to see practice today. We got to see 20 to 30. It was closer to 30, honestly.
Seemed like you guys were there
for
a while.
About 30 minutes of practice today, which was, more than normal. So we're appreciative there.
You saw more than just stretching and warming up, which
exactly
is what everybody was getting the past couple of years. So being actually able to stay there and watch some of the drills and get to see some of the players go through some of the movements that they will be making on Saturdays. Probably extremely helpful for a lot of the people that were there. Yeah. I know it's extremely, I really enjoyed looking at all the videos on Twitter, some from you, some from everyone. It was great. A lot of quarterback talk on social media.
Yeah. And we'll ask Steve about his thoughts. But kind of the overall thoughts on Nebraska's quarterback situation right now after we saw him. And granted, like everything that we say, once again, take with a grain of salt because we only got to see 30 minutes, which is more than normal, but
of
also
one practice.
Yeah, of one practice, of the fifth fall practice. So it's like, I understand as someone that's talking about it, understand that you have to take it with a grain of salt, but also, and that's one thing I'll ask Steve is how much do we read into what we saw today?
All of it.
Something that we can take away is that Casey Thompson was the first quarterback up. Then it went in this order: Chuba, Logan Smothers, Heinrich Harburg. Another thing I will mention, and once again, 402-464-5685, the Honda Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. We are 26 days away from kickoff, and not that we're expecting him to even be in competition for the starting job, but I will say this, in terms of future quarterbacks for Nebraska, Richie Torres is big.
Is it Richie or is it Richard?
I've heard it more Richie.
Does he want to go by Richie?
I think so. I think he's good with Richie.
I need an official confirmation from the man himself.
So we'll go with Richard because that's how it's listed on the roster.
That's what it went through the entire recruiting process, and that's what it is on the roster.
Okay.
But I've seen, as you were saying,
Richie. Everybody
that was talking about him today on social media put Richie Torres.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Richie.
I'm very confused.
So maybe
I just want to get names right.
So maybe we'll stick with Richard. That way we don't cross lines.
Okay. Or we can just say Torres.
All right.
There's only the guy, only Torres on the roster.
That is true. He is actually pretty. He's talented, and once again, in terms of just arm talent, obviously, as Husker fans know, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you can't read a defense and you can't get right up in the head, then it doesn't really matter, right? A lot of the mentality part, that's where Nebraska's struggled in years past, especially at the quarterback position. Mm-hmm. But I will also say this: there were throws that Chuba Purdy made that didn't look as good as Logan Smothers. Logan Smothers made some really nice throws today, but once again, I'm not saying that Logan Smothers should automatically be the second quarterback on the roster on the depth chart because of 30 minutes that we saw today.
Everything that you're saying is from your perspective. This is not you trying to make, please to put one person over the other. This is just what you saw and what you took away from practice. I was not at practice. I can say what I saw in the videos.
Yeah, and another thing,
I saw one throw from Logan Smothers, and I loved it.
Yeah, it was great.
And I'm all in.
It was
Logan
great.
Smothers, let's go.
To Cooper Jewett.
Shout out to Cooper.
It was one where and it's on my Twitter. If you want to see any of the videos, that I tried to post as many as I could, was still gaining some actual just vision of what's going on.
You did a good job.
But anyway, they decided to they decided to start motioning guys out into the flat, and then they started just taking kind of a route up the near sideline to where I was at, and it was about a 35 yard pass or whatever, and Logan Smothers put it on a dime. Casey Thompson made a good throw, and things like that. Mickey Joseph was not happy with today's performance as well. He spoke to the media, and there were a lot of discussions on leadership in that room and who is the guy that's kind of taking their role by storm and leading that room. And we kind of got some insight that in reality, nobody. And if anybody's the most consistent, then it's Mickey Joseph. And I know Rico's got that clip, so we'll go ahead and play that here in a second on who's the most consistent in that room right now, 26 days out from fall camp.
Me. I've been the most consistent, not them, because they're going to make mistakes. They're going to make mistakes. Like I said, I asked them to stack days. We didn't stack a day today. We didn't stack a day today. We got our butts whooped today by the DBs, and we can't have that. We got to stack days.
Why didn't they stack a day? Here's what Mickey Joseph had to say.
They just took it on the chin today. And that's what, not everything, they just took it on the chin. When things are going, like I told you, when things are not going your way, now you got to settle yourself down and depend on your technique. But you still got to have that chip on your shoulder like, hey, I'm going to get this thing done,
Sounds like accountability. Like if you listen to anything that Mickey Joseph says today, and anything that he said in the recent conversations that we've been able to have with him, it's accountability. And a lot of the discussion today was how have those guys in that room responded to him being hard on them? Like, because they're not used to this. They're not used to a coach coming in and being like, listen, if you're not ready to play, I'm not going to play you. Like he went through and talked about how he will have 6 guys ready for Saturday. And if you're not one of those 6 guys, then it is what it is. And you did that to yourself because everybody's going to have an opportunity. Somebody specifically asked Coach Joseph about Bonner, Janarian Bonner. And he said, listen, despite them being a freshman, they're going to have an opportunity to play.
Somebody asked him about how the guys have responded to his coaching style, and that's actually right here.
They understand it. They understand what my thing is, I rule it with an iron fist, and they understand that. And I think they accept that. I'm never going to be soft on them. I'm never going to, cater to them. I'm never going to tell them what they want to hear. I'm always going to tell them the truth, but I'm going to demand that they play with excellence. That's what they're trying to reach excellence. And that's how you win. That's how you win. That's winning football when you can stack days and put it together every day, because then Saturday becomes easy. But if you lose in practice and lose in practice and lose in practice, you're going to lose on Saturday. And I watch all of that. We watch all that. Scott, that's what we watch. We got to watch that.
2 things that I took away from that is the commitment to excellence that Mickey Joseph has, and the need to practice the way that you're going to play on Saturdays. And the second thing is something that you hear a lot of former players say, especially a lot of guys from the 90s, is practice was so hard that Saturdays were the easy part of the week for them. And that's what Mickey said. He's like, you want to practice so hard, you want to stack these days and be excellent in practice so that when you comes to Saturday's easy. You go through Saturday and it's just like, oh yeah, I already know how to do this. I know how to read this defense. I know how to do this part because we've worked on this, week in and week out, day in and day out. I know exactly what I'm going to do.
Am I wrong in thinking that maybe Mickey Joseph's words carry even more weight than any other coach that could have come in here? Number one, because of him being a former player, but number two, we've talked about it extensively before, but you go back to that 2019 LSU team that he was a part of, and you would have to think, right, that practices were harder than games on Saturdays for that LSU team
The
with
amount of
Jamar
success-
Chase and Terrace Marshall and Thaddeus Moss, which I understand Thaddeus Moss was a tight end at
Justin
the time.
Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson was the third receiver that I was thinking
the
about.
amount of success that he had at LSU,
But, like-
and the same with the defensive backs. at
Exactly, Grant
LSU.
Delpit. You had you can go down the list of when Mickey Joseph was there, and it's DBU, right?
And
LSU.
you heard Trey Palmer talk about it. Well, we heard Trey Palmer talk about it when they were asking about on that evening with the Huskers. They asked about going through practice and who's the hardest person you had to face in the old conference that you were in.
Exactly.
And he said that it was one of his former teammates, one of the guys, one of the corners that I cannot remember his name right now, but he was like the 5th overall pick in this last
Was
draft.
it Delpit?
No, it wasn't Delpit. It was the guy who was
Who
like
was-
a freshman.
yeah,
he was
the-
an
and he got
All-American
hurt
his
or
freshman
whatever.
year, and
Or
then
he sat out.
he wasn't quite the same. Like they were saying, if he would have came out that year, he would probably been the first corner off the board. I think he was the second corner.
That's
off the
going to
board.
bother me. I need to see it.
Go look it up. But it probably wasn't the 5th overall, but he was one of the
I knew exactly. what you
top
meant.
corners taken.
Derek Stingley,
Yep, Derek Stingley,
third
Trey-
overall to the Texans.
Trey Palmer said that he was the hardest person he faced in the SEC.
Mhm.
And he's like, practices were hell. Like me and him going at it, we would go at it all the time, and he made me better. That's what you want here at Nebraska right now, is the corners and the wide receivers and the safeties, going at each other and making each other better. And as Mickey said today, they kind of got hit on the chin today. The defensive side of the ball won during this version of practice.
Yeah, and once again, 30 minutes of practice or whatever. Guys dropped a couple passes that they should have had. Couple passes out in the flats that guys should have caught that were well thrown footballs. Just went through the hands of some running backs and things like that. But once again, small sample size there. The other group that I kind of stuck around with on that side of the field was the offensive line, because we've had conversations, plenty of them, of the offensive line and how they didn't replenish or didn't add to the fold, other than Hunter Anthony, the transfer from Oklahoma State, and Kevin Williams Jr. as well. But when you look
Colorado.
when you look at this offensive line, like you guys have texted in, once again, 402-464-5685. You guys have texted in over the last couple weeks saying, listen, like I feel good about the skill positions. I feel good about quarterbacks. I feel good about defense, but it doesn't matter if you can't get a consistent running game. And the best way to get a consistent running game is to have a powerful offensive line. Like you guys have said that a lot, and it's actually valid. So that's where it's like I was immediately attracted to the offensive line right off the bat. And actually, so UNL student Cole, I remember him calling in. He says, take his head off, with a lot of exclamation points. Donovan Raiola with the quote of the day. And I got lucky to be able to be videotaping right as he said that. You guys can go over my Twitter, Nick_Sainer, if you want to watch that video of Bryce Benhart. But they were
in mid-season form.
That's true. Thank you. But anyway, I remember Cole called in a couple of days ago or a couple weeks ago and was like, listen, I just don't know if I like the Donovan Raiola hire. And it's completely valid and it's understandable, because it's a guy that played his college football at Wisconsin and then was the assistant offensive line coach at the Bears. And then you somehow, some way get a job at Nebraska. And it was one of those hires that at the time it was like, all right, this has to be a fit hire rather than a glamorous hire, right? Where it's not going to be super sexy. Obviously the Raiola name carries a little bit of weight around Nebraska, but it wasn't going to be a super sexy hire. But if he's the right fit, then it gets the job done and then we're all happy. So I was immediately attracted to the offensive line this morning when I was at practice. And I will say, like, they look like they have a little bit more of a tenacity. We've heard the offensive linemen say that Coach Raiola is loud, and I can second that right off the bat. You heard Donovan Raiola's voice, and it was not just because I was 15 yards away from him, but it rang throughout the Hawks Championship Center today. So I was pleasantly surprised by the offensive line. Now, what's interesting is Mark Whipple said after practice today that they're still shuffling guys around in that offensive line. So I guess if you want to read into that a little bit, then you don't pencil in Teddy Prohaska at left tackle and don't pencil in Turner Corcoran at a guard position.
But they were both at practice.
They were,
today,
but that's the positive.
Which is a big positive, and that's
Exactly.
promising. Teddy Prohaska at practice, he did have a knee brace on and some tape. Turner Corcoran also at practice. So two of your starters from the offensive line last year, Teddy Prohaska for a game and a half, a game and a quarter, however long he played the Northwestern game and part of the Michigan game. And then Turner Corcoran started all season. Two of your starters from last season back at practice after injuries in the summer caused them to sit out. But it's great to have a full offensive line room and have everybody kind of going up against each other and making each other better. And as Donovan Raiola said when he first got here, they're not going to move bags. They're going to move people.
Yeah.
They're moving bodies.
That's what they did.
Exactly what they were doing.
And somebody replied on my tweet, and I'm sure they're not listening right now, but somebody replied on my tweet saying that the dummies that they were working on need better dummy play, not at all realistic, and that matters. That's what somebody replied to my tweet about. I was like, they were trying. Like, obviously, they're not going full blow against the offensive line, but they were not just letting them drive them back. And maybe you can't see that on the video that I took, but when you saw rep after rep, they were absorbing the blow and not trying. They were trying to.
Pads popping was loud.
Yes, exactly. Like it was not just a dummy play to where the guy on the defense who was going against the offensive lineman was just letting them drive them back. That was not the case. So that's where it was a little more encouragement as well, because it's competitive in practice. And so a couple of the guys that were really out there for the bulk of those drills were obviously you had Teddy, you had Turner, I saw Kevin Williams Jr., and then I also saw Brock Bando and Bryce Benhart. So those were the 5 guys that I really watched extensively. And read into that what you will, because they were shifting around and working it both, sides and everything like that.
You were the one that said Bryce Benhart was pulling players aside.
Yes, so I was just going to say that story. So Alex Kahn was going in the drill, and he got yelled at by Donovan Raiola because he wasn't up enough, like in his pads. And he's like, and Donovan Raiola was like, go right at his chin. And he's yelling that, obviously. And before Alex Kahn could get back to talk to Coach Raiola, Bryce Benhart goes, "Hey, Kahn, come over here." And that was it. They talked for 30 seconds, and then there was no other problem. So you talk about guys maybe taking a leadership role. Maybe Bryce Benhart's that kind of guy, because Bryce was the one that was standing off to the side with Alex Kahn, who has not seen the field yet in his career, and making sure that he knew what he needed to change.
For the amount of crap that Bryce Benhart gets, that is a welcome sight, and that is a good thing to hear, is that he's still, in there trying to take a leadership role, or taking a leadership role, and trying to help hold these players accountable, holding his other offensive line teammates accountable for what they're doing, and making sure that they're getting in good reps and they're getting in good work. But like I said, for the amount of crap that he's been getting for the amount of time that he's been here, that he's been start 2 years. That
in all honesty, Rico, he's kind of struggled.
He has struggled, but he knows he's struggled. Everybody else has seen him struggle.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's still here and he's still working and he's still, talking to players and they're listening to him.
Yeah.
Is a welcome sight.
Yeah. The respect. And Bill and Bennett says this, and I think it's a really interesting point. Holding players accountable is what has been lacking from past teams. I think with NIL becoming a factor now, it'll be harder for coaches to keep control of players with NIL deals. Now, however, I think that Coach Greg Austin, I don't question his ability to hold players accountable. Maybe at other positions, maybe that was the case. I'm not going to speculate on that. But specifically sticking with the offensive line, I think it's more important, just as much as every other position, that you have players that hold guys accountable. Mickey Joseph said it extensively a couple times today, where he's going to be there during practice, but once Saturdays come around, he's not going to be there. He's not going to be out there being able to make adjustments on the fly and help out guys on the field. Like he just can't. And the coach shouldn't have to worry about that. The coach's job is to get them ready to play on Saturdays, and the players need to be ready to play on Saturdays. Like there's a two-way road here. Where they both need to, hold up their end of the bargain, I suppose. Mask Texter says this: Raiola will be the most underrated hire in the Big Ten this season. I don't know if you want to go that far, but I will say this: I think you should feel better about the hire than maybe you did 3 weeks ago. Now, once again, we'll get to see practice on August 10th again. That'll be the second and final time that the media will be able to go in and watch 30 minutes of practice or so, and we'll see. We'll get you. We'll talk about our reactions to that. Maybe we'll have a better day from the wide receivers. Maybe we'll have a better day from Chubba Purdy. And you never know what's going to happen. Maybe we'll have a worse day for Logan Smothers. And it's going to be also interesting to see. Remember, I said at the start of this, it was Thompson, Chubba, Smothers, Harburg in the top 4 or taking reps in that order today. And maybe by August 10th, you have a different order. We'll have to let you know. And those are the things that will be kind of
maybe
on
Torres sneaks his way
maybe
to the top 4.
Richard Torres.
You
how about that?
Never know.
That was a pleasant surprise. Like you walked out there and one quarterback kind of stood over everybody height-wise, size-wise, and it was Richard Torres.
Did he stand out? Was he the guy
He has
that,
an
like,
arm.
He
has an arm.
Out of all the quarterbacks, was he like catching your eye? Like I'm not exactly sure how to explain it. Like,
I wouldn't say that. Like obviously you're automatically drawn to Casey because the profile and things like that. Casey was probably one of the smaller ones in that bunch, but you stood there and you watched Richard Torres and he didn't look like a freshman necessarily. Like, yeah, he overthrew a couple guys, just freshman mistakes, obviously, but it was size-wise. Richard Torres looks the part. Okay. Looks like a quarterback. So that was a pleasant sight that I was not expecting to see going into that one. All right, let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll have Steve Mark of Inside Nebraska. We'll get his thoughts from the practice, from the presser, and just kind of how he's feeling about specific groups going into Husker football season as we are full go into fall camp as well. We'll also talk about a little bit of Ashley Williams. He decommitted from Nebraska, probably heading to Auburn after taking a visit to Auburn over the weekend. So we'll get all of Steve's thoughts coming up in a couple minutes. You're listening to the Happy Hour on 93.7 The Ticket.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You know you want that smoky, tangy, sweet, and spicy sauced and tossed Wingstop. But you just brought a haul of groceries home from the store. It's cool. No one expects you to shop and cook in the same day. So let the flavor experts at Wingstop hook you up with mouth-watering wings, crispy tenders and thighs, fries and sides delivered to your door. You can always cook tomorrow. That's why the fridge was invented. Get it delivered at wingstop.com.
Order your Wingstop online at 28th and Superior, 50th and O Street, and 29th and Pine Lake.
Springtime is here, and it's time to get to work on outdoor projects. Deck City is a great place to start as Lincoln's local source for everything decks. Deck City has everything you need to build the deck of your dreams, from treated lumber to Westbury aluminum railings and TimberTech composite decking. Call them today to schedule an appointment at 402-480-6671. Go online at deckcityne.com or visit their new location just north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway.
Brown Shoe Fit has all types of shoes for you to excel this summer. Check out their new Keen and Tiva brand sandals for hiking and Olukai sandals for sitting by the pool. Plus, they're stocked up on Hey Dudes to catch you up on the latest shoe fashion. They also have shoes in brands like Brooks, Hoka, Merrell, On, and many more. Browns has the local professionals to get the proper fit, aided by their high-tech foot scanner by Atrex. Stop by Brown Shoe Fit today, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
Please enjoy these next few moments of relaxation from Scott and Greg at Mendoza Family Insurance. If you would like to feel this relaxed about your home, auto, business, life, or commercial property insurance, please give Scott or Greg a call today at Mendoza Family Insurance.
They say one great thing leads to another, and that's especially true when you visit a Great Clips salon. When you sit down for a haircut with the skilled and friendly stylist at one of our thousands of convenient Great Clips locations, they'll not only make your hair look great, they'll make you feel great too. And that's something you can't help but share with the world. Download our online check-in app today and opt in to get a Ready Next text when you're up next. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
Warhorse Casino is bringing winning opportunities to Lincoln. Get in on the action at our next job fair, Tuesday, August 9th from 3 to 7 at the RBC Event Space, 5721 Johanna Road. We are hiring trailblazers in every department: beverage servers, slot, custodial, security, and more. Every employee is treated like family, and every role is essential in creating a one-of-a-kind experience. For information on openings and job fairs, go to warhorsecasino.com.
Mike Shaver here for Trek CBD. Summer is here, and that means you're having garage parties with neighbors, hitting the golf course and the pool. The drink of this summer isn't your typical seltzer. It's drinkable Delta 8. Yep, Trek CBD has drinkable Delta 8 seltzers with mango and lime flavors for 4-packs, 12-packs, coming in a variety of mango, watermelon, lime, and berry. They also have hemp-derived Delta 9 syrups to put in your beverages, and as always, the excellent Delta 8 gummies. Trek CBD at 84th and Andermatt and TrekCBD.com. Trek CBD, CBD done right.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is searching for mechanics of all skill levels to grow with us. Landmark offers a competitive wage, full benefits package, along with paid time off within just 60 days of employment, as well as a 401k and a boot and clothing allowance. Interested in becoming a part of the Landmark difference? Apply now at landmarkimp.com/careers or contact Deanna 402-310-7561 or email careers@landmarkimp.com. That's landmarkimp.com. Landmark Implement is the equal opportunity employer.
Don't make a knee-jerk reaction when replacing your air conditioner. Good or bad, the decision you make today will save or waste money for the next 15 to 20 years. Just call Bryant. They offer some of the most efficient air conditioners available, up to 26 SEER. Let Bryant's specialists meet your budget and comfort requirements with their good, better, and best options. Call 467-1111 or visit BryantLincoln.com to schedule your free estimate. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and it's been a great start here to the year as 2022 new inventory continues to roll in. Our pre-owned lot remains full, and we are selling at a record pace. I was just down at Koppel talking about a new order for myself, and they let me know I can actually start ordering a 2023 here later this spring. So stop on in to get your new 2022, your pre-owned vehicle, or maybe talk about ordering here for 2023. Check them out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Did you get it?
Yes, good job.
So what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary, sponsored by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Sartor Heyman text line, both those open for you guys the entire show today. We are joined by our weekly guest every Monday. We talk to Steve Mark of Inside Nebraska. Hello, Steve. Have you recovered from the busy morning so far?
It was pretty busy, wasn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
they're giving us media members plenty to do over here, so I'm very grateful and appreciative of that. But yeah, my head was spinning there for a little bit, but I think I got some good stuff done.
Okay, cool. So we actually got to see it. I mean, if you look at recent years, a decent amount of practice. We got to see about 30 minutes this morning, or a little after 9 o'clock or so. What were your main takeaways? What groups did you stand around the most? What just tell us what you kind of saw and gathered from the little 30-minute snippet that we saw this morning.
Yeah, so me and my coworkers over at Inside Nebraska, we kind of divvied it up. I was taking the offense, and one of my other coworkers, Zach, was taking the defense. So I stuck with the quarterbacks a lot, actually. So my main takeaways coming from the offensive side of the ball was just, to me, like, I'm not a coach or anything, but to me, the ball just comes out of the hand differently when it's Casey Thompson and Trevor Purdy, and then it's everybody else kind of. So I came out of the practice thinking, watching Casey Thompson throw the football, especially on short and intermediate routes, about 10 to 15, maybe 18 yards down the field. It looked really, really good from Casey. I just the zip that he had, the force behind his throws, he was throwing to tight end Travis Vokalek, Nebraska's sixth-year senior at tight end, and Travis wasn't having to jump up. He wasn't having to bend down. I mean, Casey was planting the ball on Travis's hands really, really well, and I just kind of noticed that kind of was really cool and fun to see. And honestly, Chubba Purdy wasn't too far behind. It was, if we're talking about like just the kind of oomph or the zip behind these passes, Chubba had that as well. I just kind of noticed those two things and kind of the command they had. And obviously, if you're one of the media members that are looking at where these guys are taking their snaps, like in the line, like Casey Thompson was first, and Chubba Purdy was second, Logan Smothers was third, and then it just kind of continued on. But those are kind of the biggest takeaways for me from Casey and Chubba was the ball looks really good coming out of their hands, and there's some force and zip behind those passes.
Keeping it on that offensive side of the ball, you were talking about the quarterbacks, the guys that he was throwing it to, the wide receivers. We heard from Mickey Joseph after practice saying that they kind of took it on the chin, that they didn't stack days today. Did you notice kind of a struggle from the wide receivers today?
So I didn't really look at the wide receivers. I wasn't over there, but I will tell you this. I was over at the defensive backs. That's kind of like where I started before I went to the quarterbacks. And I was watching Travis Fisher with his defensive backs get their drill started, and the way Quentin Newsome came off the line of scrimmage and hit one of his teammates, I can't remember who it was, in one of those kind of form tackling drills. Just nothing serious, just to get the kids awake, get the blood flowing, that type of drill. And Quentin brought it. Quentin Newsome just absolutely gave a really big shot to one of his teammates, and Travis Fisher absolutely loved that. I mean, we have it on film over here at Inside Nebraska. You could clearly hear Travis Fisher saying, "Yeah, that's the way you start this drill." I'm kind of paraphrasing because he added some words that I'm not really allowed to say. But it was really fun to watch. So hearing Mickey Joseph say that his guys kind of got their stuff given to them, that kind of makes sense because from what I saw with Travis Fisher's DBs, they were ready to go today, and it was kind of fun watching them go through the little amount of drills that I did when I was over there.
We're speaking to Steve Mark of Inside Nebraska here. He was at Huskers practice this morning as well as the press conference, and one of the guys that we noticed was not practicing today was AJ Rollins. At that tight end room, they're pretty thin, right? With Thomas Fidoni out, we don't know the extent of AJ Rollins, but he was not practicing today. When you look at that tight end room, how important is it that Chancellor Brewington and Travis Vokalek really take that position or their play by the horns and just run with it, kind of as two of the more important people in that tight end room?
Yeah, you're right on that. I was kind of just walking around and seeing AJ in the street clothes. I was just kind of disappointed because I think that kid is really, really talented, and he has a bright future ahead of him. He just needs to get on the field and stay healthy and kind of show what he can do out there, but he really hasn't been able to do it. He had a really great spring game, but Travis Vokalek, sixth-year senior, he's going to be the guy at tight end, and I'm just kind of hoping to see him flash his pass receiving skills this year. I know he's a really good receiver, but throughout his time here in Lincoln, he's been behind Austin Allen. He's kind of known for catching the ball, and Travis Vokalek has been kind of the run blocking tight end. And I think a lot of NFL organizations are going to kind of give Travis Vokalek a good look about what he could do as a run blocker at the next level, and also do a little receiving too. But Chancellor Brewington too. I mean, he's putting on weight. He's a really athletic former receiver from Northern Arizona who has the receiving skills, but maybe kind of struggles in the kind of inline tight end blocking run game. We know what he could do if you put him in motion.
Exactly.
Goal line or short yardage situation, he's going to blow someone up at the end at the outside linebacker's position probably. But those two are really sticking out to me. And also I'll throw another name out there, guys. Nate Borkacher, a walk-on from Aurora. Sean Beckton, the tight ends coach, really has been saying some really glowing things about Nate Borkacher. And I wouldn't be surprised to see if he kind of is in the mix there along with Brewington and maybe Chris Hickman as kind of that backup number 2 tight end role behind Travis.
We're speaking to Steve Mark of Inside Nebraska here, and another name that I neglected to mention was Chris Hickman. He looks like he's put on a little bit of muscle up top, but where do you think he fits into this? Because it's been a career for Chris where he's been off and on special teams, I suppose, but really struggled to get on the field for a consistent amount of time. Where do you think Chris Hickman, if anywhere, fits into this thing?
Yeah, I think he does. He's been in the program for a while, and like Brewington and some other guys in the program, he's just had some really bad injury luck. But right now I was watching him today going through routes. When you look at him, he just looks like a receiver out there because he's so thin. But I know that Sean Beckton has been kind of adamant about him getting in the weight room and putting on the correct amount of weight so he can sustain kind of playing tight end in the Big Ten. And it's been kind of hard for Chris because sometimes he came into the program as a tight end, and I believe he got switched to a wide receiver, then he's back at tight end now. So it hasn't been a smooth and kind of easy transition transition for Chris here at Nebraska. But yeah, I mean, he was the number 2 tight end that was catching passes behind Travis.
Yeah.
So he was the main tight end that Chuba Purdy was thrown to today from the drills that I saw, and he was just looking like a really athletic, kind of bigger bodied wide receiver. But he's still I'd be surprised if he was over 220 pounds at 6'5". So he just needs to continue to work on building his body and getting that weight up, because if he does, I mean, that's another pass catching tight end in Sean Beckton's room. And I just think that he has potential, but again, he's got to stay healthy, and he's got to kind of show his worth in the run blocking area too. Because if you're going to play for Sean Beckton, you got to be like Travis Folk, like you got to stick your nose into a run game and prove yourself as a run blocker too.
We're speaking to Steve Mark of Inside Nebraska here, the rival site for the Huskers. And Steve, last one before we let you go, because we know you're busy. The decommitment of Ashley Williams, the outside linebacker from Louisiana, made his decision to decommit from the Huskers yesterday. What does this mean for Nebraska? And then obviously there's been another target that's kind of associated with this decommitment, and that's Cameron Leonhardt from IMG Academy down in Florida that has a top 3 currently of Michigan State, Penn State, and Nebraska. I mean, where does Nebraska kind of fall on this thing? They have Maverick Noonan committed, but now Ashley Williams has decommitted. What does this mean for Nebraska?
Yeah, I think when you look at Ashley Williams, that was kind of a weird deal about how he was just offered and then came to the visits, and then he moved up his commitment date, I think was the story, and then just a whole bunch of like odd kind of storyline stuff. But then you hear about him going on an official visit to Auburn, and I believe he picked up a Washington offer and an Auburn one today. But yeah, then you look at also Cameron Leonhardt too. I think Nebraska would like to have another edge rusher defender in the 2023 class, and I think Cameron Leonhardt is. We'll see what happens with him, but he's kind of looking good right now to me. But yeah, it's kind of sad to see Ashley Williams go, because the Huskers had his commitment, and that's like a 6'6", 220 pound. You just look at that guy's frame and you think like, wow, like there's not a ton of guys on Nebraska's roster that look like that right now at that age, I guess. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what ultimately happens, but Cameron Leonhardt is, I think, the one that I think Nebraska would probably really like to have right now.
There's always a lot of guys that or a couple guys, I should say. There's a very few amount that when you're looking up and down the recruiting class or prospects, I suppose, that we'll make room for that guy if he wants to come here. Like for example, Malachi Coleman's one of those guys. I was truly thinking that Ashley Williams would be like one of those guys with his frame and especially from a recruiting hotbed down in Louisiana. I mean, this was a top 150 guy in a lot of recruiting rankings.
Absolutely. And I'm of the thinking, I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on this, but when you have guys like that interested in your program and they want to come play for you and you're kind of worrying about numbers, sometimes I think it's just best to take the talent and figure it out later. Right.
I agree.
Everybody kind of knows that, recruiting is a business, and, it's not really great to have feelings in this whole thing, but, yeah, I mean, when a guy like Ashley Williams with his length and his kind of upside, if he's interested in you, anybody who is of that caliber wants to come wants to come play for you, I think you take those guys and then just figure out the numbers later.
Well, it's especially in a situation like college football is nowadays that we talk so much about with transfer portal and everything being so fluid. You, like you said, Steve, I mean, you worry about the numbers later, in my opinion, because I mean, you don't know what Nebraska's numbers are going to look like 6 months from now. You don't even know what it's going to look like in the middle of the season. So, I mean, you could have a Greg Bell situation where he just leaves the program after 3 or 4 games and you're down a guy. So I think we're in the same boat in that. All right, last but not least, Wilson Contreras, does he get traded?
Oh, I think he's going to get.
Dang,
sure. I've been kind of keeping tabs on both.
It's so sad,
and I kind of teared up myself. I didn't tear up when he was his last game in Chicago. I know they've had that road swing in San Francisco, but it's gonna be sad to see him go. But we'll see, and maybe wherever he ends up going, maybe I'll kind of pay attention to them for their playoff run.
It is.
Do you want
heart-wrenching.
Do you want to join the show tomorrow after Wilson gets traded, and you and Nick can just tearfully talk about how great he was?
Let's do it. We can have it out, Nick.
Okay,
there
perfect.
You go. I'll just sit here. I'll take myself off the stream. Everything. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, Steve. Appreciate the time as always. Good stuff. Have fun with the rest of your busy Monday. I'm sure you got plenty of articles to write. Appreciate the time as always, and we'll talk to you next Monday.
All right. Thank you, guys.
That is Steve Mark of Inside Nebraska. Appreciate his time as always. Good stuff. Check him out at Inside Nebraska, the rival site for the Huskers. He just told me on the phone before we brought it to the air that he just got done writing an article that with the connection of Mark Whipple and Casey Thompson and things like that. So go check that out at Inside Nebraska. All right, let's go ahead and take our final timeout. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show. We might dive into the Ashley Williams discussion a little bit more, but we'll put a bow on Monday's show coming up in a few minutes on the Happy Hour.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
State Farm, this is Bill.
It finally got me, Bill.
What's that, Rick?
The Clark Street crater, the mother of all potholes.
Oh.
Year after rim-wrecking year, it's tormented the people of this town. It got me good.
But State Farm's got you too.
You hear that? You ain't nothing.
You trash talking a pothole?
Yes, I am.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Mike Shaver here for Trek CBD. Summer is here, and that means you're having garage parties with neighbors, hitting the golf course and the pool. The drink of this summer isn't your typical seltzer. It's drinkable Delta 8. Yep, Trek CBD has drinkable Delta 8 seltzers with mango and lime flavors for 4-packs, 12-packs, coming in a variety of mango, watermelon, lime, and berry. They also have hemp-derived Delta 9 syrups to put in your beverages, and as always, the excellent Delta 8 gummies. Trek CBD at 84th and Andermatt and TrekCBD.com. Trek CBD, CBD done right.
Bagels and Joe is in full summer mode. They'll add cold foam to the top of any iced coffee. Plus, they now have a Joe Coffee Club. Get unlimited drip coffee for just $8.95 per month. And don't forget their delicious breakfast burritos and sandwiches. Bagels and Joe, 4 Lincoln locations.
Please enjoy these next few moments of relaxation from Scott and Greg at Mendoza Family Insurance. If you would like to feel this relaxed about your home, auto, business, life, or commercial property insurance, please give Scott or Greg a call today at Mendoza Family Insurance.
Yo, it's the captain, Rashawn Jackson. Join me this Wednesday at Wingstop at 28th and Superior from 11 to 2 for Husker Sports Talk and, most importantly, wings. That's Wednesday at Wingstop at 28th and Superior, the official sponsor of the captain. Order wings ahead at wingstop.com. See you there.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric brings exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know.
They are now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefits packages that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
Your Lincoln forecast today, some patchy fog is possible this morning. Otherwise, lots of sunshine is forecast today. Can't rule out a slight storm chance later in the day, too. We'll see a high of around 96. Tonight, mostly clear skies expected with a low of around 74. And tomorrow, another sunny and hot day in the forecast. We'll see a high of 101. I'm meteorologist Kyle Klecker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I grew up hearing that women are bad with money. But like many of you, I spent years paying bills, managing checking accounts, and taking care of my family. So turns out women are pretty good with money after all. And now I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement. It's never too late to start, and there's a great website to help you. Check out WeSaySaveIt.org and jumpstart your retirement savings on your budget and your timeline. That's WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Now back to the happy hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the happy hour 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary with you. There's the jitters are not the jitters. The excitement, the anxiousness is in the air right now. That I'm ready for football. Like I'm ready. Like Sunday,
I was saying it earlier. I want it to start tomorrow.
Yeah, like I was sitting there on the couch on Sunday afternoon, like, man, I cannot wait until now. It's Sunday, obviously, but I was like, I cannot wait till Sunday afternoon to where you just flip on Sunday Ticket or whatever the new name is going to be now, because it's not Sunday Ticket anymore. And it's like you just get to watch football all day. And it's going to be – I'm looking forward to it. Zach asked on the text line once again, 402-464-5685. What about Akana coming to Nebraska, top 100 defensive end? Do you think Nebraska is going hard at him? Well, so I think Nebraska is kind of out of the running for him because his sister, Keona Lay, is no longer on the Husker volleyball team. She is now at Texas, so that connection kind of is no longer there. Plus, I think Nebraska really is going hard at Cameron Leonhardt from IMG.
And he
likes Nebraska.
Specifically said during his visits that he wanted to go wherever his sister was. So I think Texas is
go Big Red.
Is the front runner right now. But who knows? He's got a ton of other offers, and he's a fantastic player. According to the rankings. So that's a thing. But speaking of volleyball, Big Ten Media Days for volleyball is happening up in Chicago right now. And they released some preseason stuff as Nebraska is picked to finish second by the coaches in the preseason rankings behind the three-time conference champion and defending national champion Wisconsin Badgers, who are replacing, I think, maybe 2 or 3 of their top players, but they have a ton of talent. And then Nebraska has 3 players also chosen to on the preseason all Big Ten team in Maddie Kubik, Lexi Rodriguez, and Caitlin Horde, the transfer from Penn State. Maddie Kubik was the only unanimous selection amongst the preseason all conference players, athletes. So Lexi Rodriguez, the defending defensive player of the year in the Big Ten, and the defending freshman. I mean, she can't defend it, but the reigning freshman of the year in all of college volleyball.
Yeah. So
Nebraska volleyball still going to be elite. I was still out there.
I was telling you guys before the show, right after I got back from the presser, actually, is I saw John Cook walking out of Memorial Stadium today, just in normal clothes. And I was like, oh, John Cook, cool. Forgot that Big Ten Media Days were happening. And then like 20 minutes later, I saw the picture of all of them on the private jet in suits or whatever. And I was like, whoa, I forgot that was happening today. And just 20 minutes ago, he was in street clothes and leaving the stadium. So it was like kind of an interesting thing there.
Three teams tied with 3 players on the all Big Ten preseason list. Ohio State and Wisconsin also have their 3. Emily Lendot, Mac Pedraza, and Riley Rader for Ohio State. Sarah Franklin, Devin Robinson, and Anna Smrek for Wisconsin. Anna Smrek, the other 7-footer.
She's from Switzerland?
I believe so.
I think she's the one from Switzerland. I think Switzerland's a country. I know she's not from the United States, but
the other super tall one for Wisconsin.
Yeah. Anna Smrek. Tough name to pronounce.
Smrek.
Anyway,
SMREK.
402-464-5685, the Honda Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line. They're open for you guys in the final minutes here. So you can get your final thoughts in. Thomas and Lincoln asks, Nick, I got a very important question for you. Have you tried the sandwich? Thomas and Lincoln, no, I have not. I have not tried the sandwich yet.
I got a question for you. Are you going to try the sandwich?
Like, I'm not opposed to it. I just don't go to Subway. Don't go to Subway.
Neither do I.
So,
not very often.
However, you guys do get to hear another hour of me on the air because Bach is out today. So it's Nathan and I doing the water cooler. So, Eric asked, did Nick just say, I think Switzerland is a country? No, I said that I knew the Wisconsin volleyball player was not from the United States. I just didn't know if the country that she was from is Switzerland.
Is there a Heisman Trophy for volleyball, Chase B asked? I mean, there's like National Player of the Year, which I think would be the greatest honor for a single player to get in college volleyball. And that went to, I believe, Wisconsin's outside hitter last year that I cannot remember her name. She was also the first and only 5-time All-American because, COVID year.
Yeah.
But I believe she was the Player of the Year last year.
Yeah. Final thought. I did the BP with DP on Friday, Rico.
Yeah, how was that?
And I'm not going to lie. Like, I actually hit the ball a lot farther than I thought I was going to.
Really?
I truly did. Right before, I truly thought I was going to swing and miss it a lot. And I like swung and missed at one or whatever. And Mark saw it. Actually, there's probably a couple that he can attest to. But I hit it a lot farther than I thought I actually was going to. And Strick was impressed. The Salt Dogs were somewhat impressed. The manager, Brett Jody, said I had a decent swing. So we charge on. And then my golf game over the weekend was ruined because I just swung a baseball bat. So when I tell you I had lost all the ability to hit a golf ball, that's true because of hitting a baseball.
Sorry.
So it is what it is.
Dana Redke.
That's right, Dana Redke. That's right. Mark says he didn't see any of the good hits.
Ooh.
But we can ask Strick later today. We can ask Strick. It all changed
Is
once
Strick
I got
a cover for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because it all changed once I got the pine tar spray on my hands. I had no batting gloves, so I just had the pine tar spray on my hands. We felt good. Well, that'll do it for us on a packed Monday show.
A lot of
stuff to uncover still. We'll get all the sound bites for you guys ready tomorrow. There will be a lot of discussions to be had. If you want to hit us up on Twitter, Nick_Sainert at Radio Rico AC as well. But that'll do it for a Monday show. Husker football season 26 days away. Thanks for hanging out with us. We will talk to you guys tomorrow. See ya.
Adios.